So let's jump to the last point. Dave talks about building wealth and giving. So, I guess if you're investing well and you got your house paid off, then I guess your wealth is just going to accumulate like crazy, and you're going to be that multi-millionaire that Dave talks about, and you're going to be arriving at the golden gates with all this money. Then, I guess you've arrived at the ultimate goal, I guess. And it always strikes me with Dave, because he comes from a Christian background. It always strikes me that giving is the very last thing here that he lists, when in my mind it probably would be first. I know a lot of success books talk about, if you want to receive more, give more. And I think in Zig Ziglar's See You at the Top, it's kind of that same principle he talks about in there, as far as to give value to other people, you get value in return. And it's an interesting concept to me, but I think there's certainly merit wherever you place giving, to having a legitimate heart for giving to other people and to giving to causes. I know you and I have talked about where we like to donate to Operation Underground Railroad, and there's people that donate to their churches for tithing, and lots of places that you can help out. But anytime you're giving money away, I know in Scripture it talks about when you give money away with the right intentions, it comes back to you a multiple. And that is a powerful wealth building principle of giving. And I know there's a couple books behind me on my bookshelf behind my green screen that talks about these things as well. And the principles that when people give with no attachment to receiving something, there's not like, I'm going to give because I want money back. It's, I'm going to give because I legitimately want to share the abundance that flows from me. When that happens, then naturally more abundance comes back. And it may not always be monetary. It may be in health. It may be in relationships. It may be in a lot of different areas of your life. But that's just one of the things that always strikes me about Baby Step 7 is the giving comes and shows up there, which is such a very powerful thing. And, building wealth, I think, the part of that I want to touch on before I turn to you is, why are you building wealth? If you ask that question, like, are you just doing it to arrive at a number on paper, or are you doing it to achieve, feelings and experiences and have the life that you want to live? Because, we talked about earlier, buying your net worth and increasing your cash flow. If I can do that at age 30 or 40 and have the life that I want, then that skill set and those financial tools can carry me all the way through. I don't have to wait till this destination of retirement to get to this wealth built achievement step of having the $1 million portfolio or beyond, to where then my life can kick in and I can begin to do more of the things that I want to do. So if you're thinking about building wealth, I would challenge you to really why am I wanting to build wealth, and what am I wanting to build it to? Is it this $1 million portfolio just for retirement, or am I wanting to do certain things with it? Because I know a lot of people, I was on the west side of Michigan the last couple of days visiting a few clients over there, and they drive by this church on one of the main drags into Spring Lake, Michigan. And there's this huge church there, and there's I think it's like the pastor and a couple other people. They're actually billionaires that run it, and they do a ton of philanthropy work. They give everywhere. They do all kinds of stuff. And a couple of my friends over there, they used to go to that church. So it's kind of how I know the story behind the church. And, you would never notice that because the people aren't flaunting their money, but they have built wealth with a purpose. And the purpose is with giving and to help out, their community. And they do things, on a global level as well with missions and stuff. And so I would just challenge everybody that, if you're building wealth, make sure, it's in connection with something deeper. It's for, I've seen a lot of the memes on social media that talk about, I built wealth not because of the amount of money, but because it unlocks freedom. It unlocks experiences that I can have that without that money, I can't have those experiences. I can't go through and have those memories with my kids, or, do the things that I really want to do that are near and dear to me. And I think that's ultimately, like you said earlier, Matt, life is short, it's unpredictable, make the most of the time you've got. So what's your thoughts on the last baby step?
Yeah. So first off, like the building wealth part, I'd have to look at that baby step a little bit more, because to me, like everything that we've been talking about up until this baby step is all about building wealth. The first few steps were creating a foundation so that we can actually build wealth, but at the end of the day, I guess that also that what does building wealth mean to you as well? But I don't know that building wealth is something that we wait to do at the end. It's something that we're doing throughout the entire process. And I guess same thing with giving. And I think in the beginning though, if you're on baby step 1 or 2, I mean, if you really want to give back to the world, I mean, we do have to kind of take care of ourselves first. Like if your financial life is a complete disaster, I mean, you're not really able to give to your fullest potential, and not anywhere close to it, right? So you have to get your affairs in order first and your finances in order first if you really want to make a pretty significant impact. Now, that's not to say though that you have to wait until the end to give. And there's also different ways to give. You could give of your time, right? I'm going to an event on Saturday. I'm part of this motorcycle group, and once a month they go downtown and feed homeless, right? So, stuff like that. We're doing like downtown cleanups and, just various different events. So you could give of your time as well. And I think that has some magical power in it as well when it comes to receiving, but, making sure you're doing it not to receive. It's because you actually genuinely want to help make the world a better place, right? So it's not just monetary giving that we can do. It's also giving of your time throughout the wealth building process. But yeah, I mean, if you follow these steps and you really focus on, building your financial future, you don't have to be super wealthy to make positive impact in the world. It's like, I'm not super wealthy, but I'm pretty efficient with what I'm doing right now. I followed like everything that we've discussed today, and I'm in a pretty good position, even though I don't make $1 million a year, right? So the person that makes $1 million a year can do more with that than I can, but I could still contribute. Operation Underground Railroad is near and dear to my heart. I think it's a great organization, and I give to it regularly. So you don't have to wait till the end to do it, but just also making sure that you're putting yourself first as well, making sure that you're in a position to actually give the way you want, and that comes down to following the steps and the different variations that we've discussed today. And then at the end of it all, hopefully we arrive to the altar with pretty significant amount of wealth. We've done well for ourselves, and now we can pass that on to the next generation. We can pass a large portion of that on to our favorite charity and give back to the world, leave the world a better place than when we arrived. So yeah, that'd be my final thoughts on it.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, those are all excellent points. So any last final thoughts on this as we wrap it all up?
Yeah, man. Very well said, my friend. Yeah, a couple points. I would agree that, I mean, not just the end of the journey, but this entire journey that we've discussed is that of a spiritual one. Because if you think about like just starting on baby step number 2, that's a very conscious decision to start moving in the direction of becoming the best version of yourself, or at least a better version of where you're at right now, and wanting something better for yourself, your family, yeah, and maybe charitable organizations or just the world in general, whatever. It starts you on this path that, I mean, you're not going to get to where you want to be without doing the inner work and going on that spiritual journey. And the more you learn and the more progress you make, it I don't know, in my experience and my personal experience is just what I've seen, it turns you into a better person every single day. And it just becomes this beautiful spiritual journey that you're on, that one day you can look back on and like, holy smokes, look how far I came. And, I overcame this. And there's a sense of pride in that as well. And then you could pass that mindset on and those stories on to the next generation as well, not just money, right? And when it becomes about more than just money, now there's some purpose. Now you're living life intentionally, right? There's a strong purpose, a reason that you get up every single day and that you challenge yourself every single day with things that are uncomfortable, right? There's a reason you do it. It keeps you in the game, but it comes from that first initial decision to start that journey. And yeah, I think there's a lot of spirituality involved with it. And eventually you become the best version of yourself and having a really positive impact on the planet. So I love it. I think just to wrap up my thoughts on everything, I think baby steps are a great step in the right direction. But eventually, it's important to remember that it's time to graduate elementary school, move on to middle, high school, college, right? There's different phases of this stuff. Don't get stuck in elementary school. All right. Make sure you're always educating yourself. Don't think that you have reached the end of the road and that you know everything just because you've completed certain steps. All right. There's always room for growth, always room to learn more. And just make sure, you stay on that journey, continue educating yourself. And I've never seen that end up badly. It always, what I've seen, it always ends up very, very positive. So good stuff.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, makes me think I'll be my last point. I think, as I've listened to a lot of different people, I think one of the principles I was taught many, many years ago was like, who are you listening to? Who are you taking advice and counsel from? And be mindful of who you're getting that from, because, and having a contrast, having a wide array of perspective on different topics. And so like when it comes to finance, I agree 100%. Like you've got to be able to look at, the people that fly around in private jets, the guys that have, real estate, like the Grant Cardones, the Alec Hermosi, all these different guys that are living life to the fullest, the Russell Brunsons, all these guys that are making 8-9 figures, right? And just crushing it. Comparing what they say and how they talk about money and the different decisions they make to like a Dave Ramsey, not that one's right or wrong, but it gives you perspective and allows you to find, your truth, for better, lack of better term, of what resonates with you. And you have to have that spectrum, and you have to be listening to a variety of sources from different viewpoints to really figure out like what resonates with me, because you might listen to us and it doesn't quite resonate. That's totally cool. Go find somebody that does. But if this stuff does, of course, resonate with you and you want to know more of how to implement these types of things into your life, reach out to Matt. He's got a great channel on Millennial Wealth Creator. I'll put the links to his channel down below in the description here. Reach out to me. We can help you with working through some of this stuff, figuring out your values and beliefs. That really comes first, and getting to know your situation, and then seeing what types of financial strategies and tools allow you to accomplish the goals that you want to, in your life. So there'll be links in my bio for that, to be able to schedule a time and talk over that stuff. Obviously, look through our YouTube channels. There's a lot of great content that we both have on our channels individually. We've done a lot of great content together, sometimes together in the DR. And make sure you've subscribed to both of our channels. Hit the notification bell so you're alerted when we do create more content around the different things we're learning and doing and helping clients with when it comes to growing wealth and doing more efficient things with our money. So thanks for hopping on with me tonight, Matt. Always a pleasure, my friend. And we'll look forward to the next time. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
See you in the next one. Thanks.
What's up, my fellow wealth creator? Thank you so much for checking out this clip from the Millennial Wealth Creator podcast. If you'd like to watch the full podcast, there will be a link down below in the description. Make sure to also check out the additional tools, training, resources that I have in the description as well, just to help you along your journey. Thanks again for checking out the clip, and we'll see you in the next one.